You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
Well, I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show of the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. The phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. We don't have any new callers today, but we've got Daniel from California.
Hey, Ryan, Daniel from California.
Howdy.
Everybody's kind of mad about the game that just happened. I don't know, it's a win. Moving on, I don't care. I just want to talk about Matt LaFleur and him not always making the right coaching hires, but I want to highlight the one that we all know is the Jeff Hafley hire, because the few guys that we had around the same time, you would go ahead and you look at the Ravens right now, because it was Zach Orr. We were hoping to steal one of those guys, and he is coaching one of the worst defenses in the NFL. That's all the guy we wanted. We all talked about, Zach Orr, and he was the linebackers coach at the time for the Ravens.
Yeah.
But look at the Ravens defense now, and look at Hafley.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
Found the right guy. He was
That's a
able
good
to pull him out of BC. So I just want to give Matt LaFleur his flowers and just say thanks, dude. We appreciate that. Go Pack, go.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it's always scary when you hire new people, and sometimes I think we kind of liked Hafley. He wasn't super on a lot of our radars, but it was kind of like, all right, it's not who we picked, but I guess I can see it. But sometimes you just straight up hate it, and it works out. Sometimes you like it, and it doesn't work out. We loved Pedden. That really didn't work out very well. Barry, I think we were all pretty excited about. So you never know, man. It's a scary proposition to see who's going to end up doing what.
Hey, Ryan. Mike Hebring, a.k.a. Packers super fan.
Going on, man?
Hey, long time. No talk, Ryan. Just wanted to touch base with you now that we're here at about the quarter mark of the season, and just kind of give you some of my thoughts and got a few questions, maybe get a couple comments from you. Obviously, overall, I think, I'm pretty happy with where the Packers are. I mean, they obviously stumbled a little bit there in Dallas, and obviously the Cleveland loss sticks out like a sore thumb with Cleveland having only win against the Packers. So that's tough. But other than that, I am so happy with how Jordan Love is playing.
Yeah.
I mean, overall, I think he's been exactly what we need. He still has a brain fart once in a while. I think he's had a couple of those, maybe two or three of those, two that really kind of hurt. But other than that, Jordan Love's been really, really good. And again, I think that's the key to the whole season. So if that continues, I think, overall the picture looks really good.
Yeah.
The defense is looking really good. I think after the games here in week 6 now, I think they got the number one rush defense in the league. I think pass-wise, they're like 10th against the pass. So that's really, and I think overall DVOA has the Packers, I think, the second defense or something like that. You can correct me on that if I'm wrong, but I think that's right. So overall, that's pretty good too. Really good. So, I think the Packers are right where they need to be. They just need to find a way to be a little more consistent on offense. I think as this offensive line gets a little bit healthier,
right,
things will get better there. So I'm not too concerned about that. One thing that has to change though, and I could not sleep last night. I was up at like 2:30 in the morning, and after we got the Bear results with the Commanders last night, and it's like, okay. And they're talking about the turnovers that Chicago had, and it turns out, if you look at the NFC North right now and the turnover differential, Chicago's at +8, Detroit's at +6, and the Packers at -1. Minnesota's a negative too. Just Not that it matters, but anyway, that's the one thing I think that's really got to change. I
Yeah.
think the Packers, Jeff Hafley's got to figure out a way to put more pressure on the ball to start getting some of these turnovers. Because just trying to strip the ball out, that's not going to get it done. We've got to get strip sacks. We've got to get more actual sacks on the.
Oops. 3 minutes, part 2.
Strip sacks obviously is one way to do that, and then of course the other thing is just probably playing a little bit more man coverage. I know Hafley loves to sit back in quarters, in 2-man, in 3-man, deep, coverage, and I know why he does it. I get it, but I would really like to see him. They got to put more pressure on the ball, whether that's being man on the wide receivers. They've got to gang tackle the football on the running backs. They've got to find a way to get to the quarterback. So if that means they got to bring 5 or 6 people instead of just a 4-man rush, that's what they're going to have to do. But they got to find a way to stop these dink and dunk offenses and put more pressure on the actual football. So, but overall, I think they're in a good place here. Got Arizona coming up. Just lay an egg in Arizona. The other thing I think it's still I know you talked about this a couple times early on in the road games. I think the silent count is a huge issue for the offense. I think it continues to be a huge issue for the offense when they're playing away from Lambeau Field. So they got to figure that out. I don't know what they got to do to fix that. Other teams seem to be able to handle it. So I don't know why the Packers can't figure it out, but they got to get that fixed as well. But anyway, love to hear your thoughts, especially on the turnovers and what they got to do different. Just interested in what your thoughts are. Later.
Yeah, the turnover thing, I mean, that's a big emphasis for Hafley, and so obviously that's got to be a pretty big disappointment to not have that. I mean, I think the fact that we can't get pressure, the fact that we can't stop them from the dink and dunk is problematic. I mean, if you think about where a lot of these come from, I mean, yeah, there's the punching the ball out thing if you happen to get that, which is great. But, a lot of it is going to come from getting in the quarterback's face and forcing him to make mistakes, especially on higher difficulty throws. I mean, you can get in his face, and if he can dump it off to a 5-yard guy, I mean, it's possible he airmails that into a linebacker, but it's an easier throw. If it's you're getting in his face, you get a hand on him, or you tip the ball in a longer pass, that's where you're going to have more disruption, or you just cause more chaos. So there has to be coverage. You have to disrupt the quarterback, and you have to start forcing him to throw deeper down the field, even if you don't have pressure. The opportunity to cause disruption on passes beyond 10 yards are infinitely higher than these little dink and dunks. I mean, those don't get picked off. So that remains the biggest issue. And I'm hopeful that, number one, again, Hafley is not saying, this is great, I'll take that as a trade-off any day of the week. I mean, I genuinely hope that that's not what's happening. And then beyond that, I mean, he has to have a solution. And that was the first thing I looked at. I just started watching this Cincinnati Bengals game here against the Steelers, and the first thing I looked at is, okay, can they dink and dunk against them? And the first play, right away, he drops back and his first read's not there. And I'm watching the other, whatever it's called, Prime Vision or whatever, that kind of shows you more of the end zone so you can see the receivers. Sure enough, just everybody's kind of covered. And so there's just really nowhere to go with that first read, and boom, he gets sacked. Gee golly, what a crazy thought that is. If everybody's just covered, and he has to go through his first and second and third read and go, oh shoot, I don't know what to do. So many interruptions today. But you get the idea, right? I mean, he's got to figure it out. He's got to figure out something, because it's pretty stupid. It's stupid how easy it seems to be for other teams, and we can't seem to do it. And I just kind of refuse to accept that the answer is because we have these historically terrible corners and just can't do it. I mean, I've never seen this before. We've had corners that are just do you remember some of the terrible corners we've had? I mean, leave aside what I've already said about how we don't have the worst corners in football and other teams don't have this same issue. I just refuse to accept that as that's the whole story. Maybe a little bit. Like if we had an elite corner, some of this would just be taken care of. But then they could just attack the other guys, right? So that's not it. I don't know, man. Let's take a little bit of an early break because it's getting late and we got 2 calls from Dakota. So we'll take a break here. We'll be right back.
What's up? This is Dakota, that nerd in Tennessee.
What's up, dude?
So watching this latest game against Cincinnati, and looking back at all the games that the Packers have played this year, I feel like they're trying to create their own. I don't know what's that movie style where at the very beginning the movie opens up and opening scenes is somebody in this crazy situation and he's like, how did we end up here? I don't know. Let's figure it out. And then it starts over, and then you see how everything ends up in that crazy situation.
Yep.
Yeah, I just imagine they have scenes from the Lions game, especially, but the Lions and the Commanders game, and then how did we end up here? And all of a sudden they cut to the Cleveland game, and then that's where the story really begins. There's definite improvements that we've been seeing, but I don't think we've seen like the defense be as dominant. I mean, they were really good in the Cleveland game, but I don't remember the immense number of sacks that occurred. I say the immense number of sacks as if they're overly important, but I mean, they existed in the first couple games, and then they kind of disappeared. They turned into pressures, which again is important, but is different. And then I guess the league figured out that they could hold Micah and be fine with it. So
right.
I don't know. But anyway, yeah, it's like the beginning of one of those movies, and then we're just seeing solid progression throughout. I'm good with it for the moment. But anyway, now I'm just sitting here waiting on Brian Branch's appeal to go through so that they can either tell him no or hilariously, hopefully, look, we looked at the evidence and now you're suspended 2 games. Try it again, something like that. But at least he should be suspended against Tampa as they drop that game. That would be pretty nice. But anyway, that's all from me, folks. Peace.
Yeah, and for those that aren't aware, we talk about it a little bit on tomorrow's podcast. Jordy Nelson was the one who had to review that appeal and denied. Sorry, bro. You're going to be suspended, so there's that.
Hey, this is Dakota, that nerd in Tennessee again. I meant to add something in the last message, which is why it wasn't, 5 minutes long. But speaking of Brian Branch, Tucker Kraft, right? So I know at the beginning of the year, he was kind of, one of the upper echelon tight ends, along with a couple of other, players, at least, I guess, stats-wise and play-wise. And I know he got his knees messed up, and maybe it is still a little messed up. Maybe he's playing through it. But he's definitely a lot more quiet. And I miss him, John, at Brian Branch, which is where Brian Branch comes in. So I wanted to see him do more of that, but it seems like he's kind of hiding under the radar as he maybe recovers a little bit. I'm not sure. I know he got a nice touchdown, I believe, against the Bengals. So would you, since you have, access to a whole bunch of different types of things to look at, I guess be able to do a quick checkup on Tucker Kraft and see how he is doing? Because I would really like to see the entirety of, NFL Fanage see him, I guess, and talk about him because he definitely deserves it. He's amazing. Anyway, all right, peace.
Well, if I understand kind of the crux of your question, I think it goes to the heart of a little bit of what we're going to talk about tomorrow, which is a big issue a lot of people are having in terms of the ball distribution, right? Where's Tucker Kraft? I saw some people talking about today, it's unacceptable. He should be getting the ball a lot more, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, look, I don't disagree. So, big part of tomorrow's thing is, will Matt LaFleur essentially even allow there to be a primary receiver, wide receiver one, whatever? And my contention is yes, if somebody is talented enough. But that's a whole big controversial thing, apparently. Leaving that aside, there was a time when I thought, for sure Tucker was going to be the focal point of the offense. There's so much fluctuation, and I still am of the opinion that Matt LaFleur would like to settle into, not that, Tucker gets 90% or anything crazy, but would like to kind of settle into some kind of a focal point, some kind of an identity. This is what we go to. And I would have thought that Tucker was going to be that guy, and maybe he's trying and it just isn't working for one reason or another. We need to keep him in to block, or it's so hard to know. I mean, we can sit here and speculate forever. The other very obvious thing is we just, the whole adage of we have too many mouths to feed. I do think that the talent level is pretty even across the board. You could say Tucker is maybe a notch above the other guys, using your tight end to wide receiver conversion chart that you have in your back pocket. But it's not going to be a massive difference. So, I think unless and until we have a guy that is just heads and tails above everybody else, which maybe that's going to be Golden. That's kind of what I'm waiting to hold out and see. Unless and until that happens, it probably is just going to remain a relatively evenly distributed thing, similar to what we saw, not because Matt LaFleur is forcing it, but just similar to what we saw when it was Jordy and Randall and Jennings, and it's just you just never know. You never know who's going to have a big day, and that's fine if it ends up being that. Again, my whole thing is, as long as the passing offense is working, I'm completely fine with it. I don't super care. Would it be cool if Golden ended up being this elite receiver and whatever? Heck yeah, it would, of course. Just going to make us a better team. It's going to make us harder to defend, et cetera, et cetera. But unless and until that happens, I think it's just going to be kind of a, Tucker's going to explode for some games, and he might kind of disappear for some games, if I understood your question on that. If not, sorry, my head's off in another argument that's going on social media.
Hey, Ryan, it's Garrett from Southern Illinois.
Yo.
Just calling to point out something that I'm sure that some other guys have at least mentioned it, but I just wanted to just say I'm thankful that Golden is on Green Bay.
Yeah.
To see that one pass that Jordan Love had to make when he had to scramble out of the pocket and make something happen, and Golden sees this and cuts off of his route and alters his route to come back to the ball and undercuts that DB, and Jordan Love sees that and makes that big throw downfield. Just basically, I think that kind of like the game-clinching play. And for Golden to recognize that and do that, I was like, I've been waiting for other guys to maybe do that more. When Jordan has to scramble out of the pocket, it's like, just go back to the ball, guys.
And that's kind of that natural feel thing that I've always said that I've liked about Golden. I mean, first of all, one of the things I love is I've never had a moment where I was like, what are you doing, dude? Maybe that pass that he caught where he ran over by Wicks, that might have been kind of like a what do you do? But even in that, it was like, that was a great play, so I can't be super mad at you. But yeah, I mean, when you look at the route running, when you look at the hands, when you look at everything, it just feels like this guy knows what he's doing. You know what I mean? And yeah, to see that kind of a growth, because that is an area, you're right, that I don't know that we have that. Like, there's a good connection between Jordan and Romeo, but from what I can tell, the good connection is more or less Jordan trusts Romeo, and Romeo usually rewards him. Like, if I chuck it between two guys, it's a tight throw, whatever, I think dude is going to, he's probably going to come down with it. He's a reliable safety blanket. But, Rodgers had some guys back in the day. Randall Cobb was phenomenal at this in his prime, I guess. He had other guys, like when it was scramble drill, whether it's working back to the ball or, altering your route where you're running at an angle and you see the safety there or the corner or whoever that is, and you're like, well, why don't I just cut behind him and cut straight across and make this an easier throw for everybody? Like, I'm wide open if I do that. And Yeah, I mean, it was just it's a football IQ thing, and he made an easy situation he got himself open for the quarterback who's under duress, and then of course makes another great grab and makes a play. And these are the things that get me excited, and it's why I'm not worried about Golden. I mean, again, you never know. I mean, the guy could start making mistakes, which I'm starting to really feel confident is not going to be an issue. But also, you know, again, there are a lot of mouths to feed, and Jordan may never really come off of Dobbs as his primary type of a guy or whatever. Or if they kind of keep him in that clear-out role where, you know, a certain percentage of the time he's just going to be shooting down the field. And whether it's because it's just not designed to him and or Jordan's too under duress to actually take those deep shots so it doesn't go to him as often. I don't know what might happen, but there's still a confidence level that I have that eventually it's just sort of like a gravitational pull thing. And this is kind of the argument that I'm having for tomorrow when it comes to, you know, we give Matt LaFleur too much credit for how much he can dictate this offense. Elite receivers across the NFL have elite receiver numbers. All of them. You know why? Because they're elite receivers, and it is a gravitational pull. You can't get away from them. They're open more. The quarterback trusts them more. The coach wants to go to them more. Like, these are just things that are naturally going to happen, kind of no matter what. And it's really just a matter of time. And some of it is Golden also. Like, he has to get better at understanding how to run his routes and where he needs to be and all these kinds of things so that Love can trust him. You know, if he looks up where Golden's supposed to be and he's not there, or if he's not running his route quite right, or the timing isn't quite right, yeah, he's gonna get to the point where it's like, I'm just gonna go over by I'm just gonna find Heath, man. You know what I mean? I'm doing that. There's a touchdown. 10-0 turned into 14-10 pretty quick. But again, a lot of things can happen. I have a general confidence level that we're going to see more Golden. It's just going to happen. So we'll see. We'll see. I think last week was a step in that direction, but maybe it was just a fluke, and maybe we just go back to not seeing him again.
You know, make it where it's easier for Jordan. Sorry. Make it easier for Jordan to throw to somebody when you're coming back to the ball. Then the DB can't knock it out of your hands. You know, it's what we were always taught. Go back to the ball, catch with your hands, bring it in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I'm just so happy to see Golden doing that very thing. So let's hope the other guys take notice and do it more, because it's just not something I've seen very often. Because it was like, man, as soon as I saw it on TV, I was like, yes, that was so great. That was so great.
Yeah, I'm excited. I am excited for him. And that's the other thing. I mean, I'm excited that Golden continues to get better, but yeah, we still got Tucker and we still got Dobbs and Watson's coming back and Reed will eventually come back. And I mean, I'm one way or another, we're going to be good. In other words, we're going to be okay. But I think we're going to be better than okay with Golden. I don't know that, but I'm getting more and more confident with that as time goes on.
Okay, I'm back to my truck where it's quiet. To kind of finish what I wanted to say, after watching last night's game against Chicago, they put something up which I've never seen them do before, a stat where somebody's so inaccurate that, you know, that Caleb's percentage of inaccurate throws was just absolutely hilarious. I will give him credit. He had some really impressive throws.
Sure, yeah, he really
there
does.
There were a lot of inaccurate throws, too. Yep. But I just can't believe that the Commanders squandered that game away. So there's that. So much for a victory Tuesday of laughing at the enemy.
I know.
But we can't laugh at Detroit. And I wanted to point something out with the branch and the fight and all. It's like, does it bother anybody else that Branch wears that stupid green mouthpiece stuck in the back of his helmet? If the NFL was actually, you know, proactive and saying, yeah, we care about each other, about the players' health and stuff and safety, then why aren't you making them wear their mouthpieces? You see so many guys running around.
Well, I haven't noticed that with Branch. The one thing that always sticks out to me, Caleb's just chewing on it all the time. That dude never puts it in his mouth except to he chews on it. He doesn't actually put it on his teeth. It's almost like I'm annoyed just watching him do that. Like, stop chewing on that. Just Get rid of it if you're not going to use it. I don't want you chewing on that. It's disgusting.
With the mouthpiece just dangling from their face mask. And if they actually cared about their safety and well-being, they would be fining them or throwing a flag or whatever for not having their mouthpiece in their mouth.
Yeah.
To me, it just seems absolutely stupid to not be running. You got it hanging off your face. Now, why do you even have one? I mean, come on.
Right.
So NFL needs to get a little bit more proactive on that one. So just my opinion, but again, I'm tired of looking at that stupid green mouthpiece sticking out Branch's helmet. They ought to fine him just for that alone.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be the guy to be like, you should be throwing. I mean, the NFL is going to get super ridiculous if we're throwing flags for guys not having their mouthpieces in. So I don't want to go there, but a fine, yeah, that might be better because we're not stopping the play. You know, it's not interrupting the game. Although I will say it would be hilarious if Caleb Williams snaps the ball and they throw a flag and it's for not having his mouthpiece in. They like negate a touchdown or something. Again, I don't want the NFL to go that far. That's ridiculous, but it would just make me chuckle. Just do it one time for him to send a message, and then just please never do that again. Why didn't it play? Come on.
Well, Ryan, the NFL wanted parity, and they definitely got it.
Heck yeah, man.
I don't know if you had picked it or not, but I sure didn't. Having Atlanta upsetting Buffalo.
Nope.
Man, it's one of those things. I'm glad I'm not a gambler because I would not have got that one right for sure. And majority of the games this year, I would not have gotten right. It just boggles my mind to see how some of these teams are just doing what they're doing. I mean, it echoes exactly what you've been reminding us over and over again. It's like, and Green Bay is not the only team that's losing games to teams that they should have beat. This year is just a prime example of that, and it just goes to show that any given Sunday, anybody can do it.
Yep.
But all I can say is going into next week against Arizona, playing probably another backup quarterback. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it seemed like there was one year where the team went up against numerous backup quarterbacks one season. It just seemed like it was
is that 2023, I think,
and
right?
This year's just seems like it's kind of heading that direction again, you know. It's just crazy. I'm not complaining about it. It just man, the amount of injuries to quarterbacks is just astounding to me right now. So, but Arizona, I have to say this is one of those games where I do, if Harrison is out with the concussion that he suffered in the last game and Kyler Murray is out, it's another one of those games where you're going to say, yeah, this is a game they definitely should win.
Right, that's the
they
problem.
Definitely should win. So let's go get them. Let's go get a road win, guys. I mean, those have been escaping us. We need to get in the groove of doing that because the next one that's looming is a game in Pittsburgh against you-know-who, the Boogeyman, and that is definitely a game I do not want to see them lose. That is a game I want them to win more than any game for the remainder of the season almost, excluding the Bears.
Yeah. Yeah, the parity has been really, I mean, I find it really exciting. I don't think I realized, well, I guess I did realize it because I've said before how much I hate teams that just keep winning all the time. I'm actually really excited to see, I mean, it's just a battle. I mean, I think I maybe didn't recognize how much I was annoyed by the fact that there's really about, I don't know, 10 to 15 actual teams competing. Maybe half the league is actually competing and the rest of the league is really never competing, with one or two surprises that kind of pop in. One or two teams that you didn't think were going to be good and are good, and one or two teams that you thought were going to be good but weren't. But it's just the same bull crap every year, and to have this and just be like, I don't know, dude. And I'm watching right now a 4-1 Steelers team losing to a 2-4 Bengals team. I mean, again, it's well, first of all, the game's not over, but it's Thursday. It's a divisional game. And also, Flacco does change the dynamic here, as we've talked about. I don't think anybody wanted to give the Packers any credit for that, but I think we're seeing it. But still, I mean, it's been like this kind of across the board for like everybody. So yeah, it's real exciting. I really like it. I'm happy that it's a thing. Makes football much more enjoyable. It's not just a series of, hopefully this is an upset because that would be cool, but yeah, no, it's not an upset. I mean, you know, you've got like 4 teams that have like 13, 14, 15 wins every season, and they just never lose, and it's freaking boring. And, you know, then there's a bunch of like 11, 10 win teams, and I don't know. I am enjoying this. I really am. It makes it fun. It makes it exciting. You know, of course, it's nice when the Packers are the 15-win team and nobody can stand in their way or whatever. But, you know, it's also kind of exciting. Like, first of all, I'm not super terrified of anybody on our record, but I also am not just like, that's an easy win. I mean, I'm watching the Steelers, and, I mean, they're having their issues, but it's a competent football team. You know what I mean? Like, Rodgers is looking pretty decent. He threw a pick or whatever, but, I mean, he's looking efficient. He's looking... It's not like I'm like, we're going to kill this guy. Not at all, especially considering he's getting the ball out in like 1 second, of course. So we're going to have to deal with that bull crap again. No, but I'm freaking loving it, man. I think it's fun. I think it's exciting. I think it's a better product. That's also why I don't like, and maybe it's not true, I don't know, but I don't like the fact that it seems as though the NFL is much more geared toward the superstars. They want the superstar teams. They want the Chiefs to be a dynasty. I don't want that. I really don't. I don't like that. And if the NFL is pushing for that, they shouldn't be. Not that, I don't know what influence they could actually have or whatever, but the NFL should want parity. The NFL should want this. They should want the Giants to show up and beat the Eagles or something, you know? Because it's exciting. Because you want these big markets and these fan bases to actually have something to get excited about and not have empty stadiums filled with, well, it's not filled if it's empty, but empty stadiums with people sitting there with bags on their heads. You know, and I still expect eventually things will sort themselves out. Eventually you'll end up with the elite teams and the bad teams or whatever, but I'm liking it. I really am. Let's take our final break right here. Take one more break. We'll come back with some more Garrett and TJ, and we'll see where that leaves us.
Brian, I was wondering if you could do me a favor and go on to Amazon, buy one of those rear view mirrors that you put like on a bicycle helmet or on your handlebars.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
So that we can put it on Keyshawn Nixon's face mask.
Okay.
So that
that's not a bad idea.
You can actually see what's behind him and turn around in time to maybe get some interceptions, because the dude is balling out.
Yeah.
But I wish he would just every once in a while turn around and be able to get an interception that is basically there for the taking. It's just he's so playing the guy so tight that, you know, he's just not getting turned around in time. I swear he's got Stokes disease. So, yeah, just send him a mirror and hopefully he puts it on his face mask.
I'm just watching Rodgers absolutely lose it as he threw his second pick. He is screaming at the refs. He's not happy with that call. Yeah, I mean, you're right. He's I think he's doing a good job. He's had some tough assignments. There's been some rough plays and all that, but I mean, he's playing physical. He's playing fast. It's not like he's looking lazy out there. You know, he pointed out there's some back shoulder throw action that's going on. I'd be lying if I said there haven't been times where I'm screaming at my TV, turn around! You know, like, bro! I do think there's kind of a feel thing there. I mean, sometimes those back shoulders are tough. Especially, you know, they're running, then boom, they turn around and catch it. I mean, what are you supposed to do? There are sometimes, though, that ball's just hanging there and the guy's slowing down trying to catch it. I mean, you know the ball's there. Come on, man. Talked before, I think it was Packer Superfan about, oh, dang, it's 36 seconds. They can go down and score. That's wild. It's been a long, like, 2 minutes of this half here. I think it was Packer Superfan talking about, we got to pump up those numbers as far as turnovers go. And I do think there's been a couple missed opportunities. It's been rough out there, but there have been a couple times where if guys had got their head around, that's the thing about picks. They're very fleeting. You get very few opportunities, and when they're there, you got to capitalize. And the guys and the teams that capitalize are the ones that have the picks. The guys that don't are the ones that have the -1 turnover ratio, We saw Valentine, beautiful play, go up and bam, knock that ball out of the air. Maybe could have caught it, though. Again, I'm not trying to be too nitpicky. I don't usually get super mad about pass breakups that could have been picks. Some people get super pissed about that. It's not a bad play. It's a good play that could have been better. But still, we got to figure that out. So, again, I'm appreciative of Keyshawn and what he's done so far, and Valentine's looking good out there, and Bullard's playing physical, and Hobbs is on our team, too. I'm not trying to be mean. I just, it is what it is so far. Yeah, couple missed opportunities there. All right, Garrett, get to it.
Ryan, I'm calling in to complain.
Okay, good.
About how you're complaining about callers calling in and complaining.
Yes.
I'm just kidding. I've made a few calls and just trying to kill some time, so I'm going to call in one more time to just address how clutch it was that they got a kicker that have a risk or something like that. It's like, do they really have to get somebody that has risk in their name to be a kicker?
That's true.
Came through in the clutch. I'll give him that. I give him a lot of credit. That was pretty big for him to pull that off. So, but they just had to get a kicker with the name Risk in it.
Had to do it.
Me.
No, it was a big risk in general. Like I said, they had a bunch of guys come in. This guy's got very limited experience, and just it seemed like that's one of those, you stick to your process. I have to assume there are GMs out there who'll be like, yeah, he's technically looking good. And did you call that incomplete? Are you stupid? I guess he did kind of juggle. Whatever. But yeah, some GMs that are looking at it going, yeah, he technically won the job, but I don't know. This guy's more of a proven commodity. I'm not taking that risk. Packers pulled the trigger on the guy that was just better, and it worked out. So kudos on that, because that was a big. We needed the kicker to be clutch in order to pull off that game, and we got it. So pretty big. All right, TJ.
Hey, Ryan, TJ from Alabama.
What's up?
Just checking in, listening to some of the callers. Some reasonable, some a little bit of, fire drills going on, blah, blah, blah. And of course, everybody fan the way you want to fan.
Oh, yeah.
I got no business telling anybody anything. So I'll just share my thoughts. And my thoughts, it's fine. Is it as good as I'd like it to be? No. But is it fine? Of course it's fine. Second in the NFC, this early, doesn't really matter that much, but hey, better than nothing. Detroit and Tampa play this week, so at the end of that, it's a win-win kind of situation. Detroit loses, we'll be up, like a game and a half, and if Tampa Bay loses and we happen to win, we're the number 1 seed, which again doesn't do anything in October, but
Sure.
What the heck. But don't even. Sure, I would like to be playing better. I would like to be winning more.
It's kind of like leading by 3 at halftime. You can't get super excited about it, but it's better than nothing.
I would have liked to have beat Cleveland and Dallas. But in the grand scheme of things, it's in October. It's just about getting wins. It doesn't. Style points don't matter. You're not being graded at the end of the season by how much you won or any of that kind of crap. It's just wins, so that when you get to week 13, 14, 15, you have stacked enough wins where now you're jockeying for position and things like that and trying to better your playoff seed and all that kind of good stuff, whether it be winning the division or whatever the case may be. So in October, a win is a win. And would I like it to have been better? Sure. But at the end, towards the end of the season, it matters nada, and as long as you win, that's all that matters. Early in the season, you're trying to hone everything in. You're trying to avoid major injuries. Not that there's much you can do about that, but you're trying to do that, and you're just trying to get the dub.
Yep.
Just get the win. That's all that matters. And then towards the end of the season, you're trying to play your best football. There's been so many examples, including Packerland and non-Packerland. Philadelphia a few years ago, where they were clearly the best team in football, 10-0 or 10-1 or whatever, and then they end up losing 3 of their last 4 and crap out and poop the bed in the playoffs.
Yeah.
The Packers in their 15-1 season, where early in the season we were killing everybody, and then we lose our first game. It's early in the season. Just stack wins, baby. Just stack wins. That's what we're currently doing, and I'm happy. Go Pack, go. Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, and I don't want to pretend that I don't understand the fear. I do. But we have to be able to separate out at least this feeling of, look, it's making me nervous that they're not playing as well as they need to be. I'm nervous that maybe they just don't have it. I'm fine with that statement because I get it. I just don't want to go so far down the rabbit hole or down the path of saying this team can't win or this team can't do this, that, or the other. That's where we take it too far. We don't know. They're okay. Based on where everybody else is, everything's just fine. We don't need to panic. But I get it.
Hey, Ryan, I always hang up with you, and then one other thing pops into my head. So I'll call back one more time. If we were going to apply Packer fandom to any other team in the league,
yeah,
I can probably only think of 1, maybe 2 teams that Packer fandom would be happy with or be feeling better about.
Sure.
Every other team in the league would be disappointed. Kansas City, San Francisco, Buffalo just lost 2 games.
Yep.
Pick any team, it doesn't matter. If we were applying Packer fandom to that team, there would be disappointing because there was bad losses.
Tampa would
and all
be
this other
one,
stuff.
right?
The 2 possible exceptions is probably Indianapolis.
Oh, and the Colts,
going
right?
into the season, what that expectation
so
was.
Weird.
Packer fandom too. If we were Indianapolis with those expectations, Packer fandom would probably be feeling pretty good. And maybe Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
But I'm not even sure about Tampa Bay because Tampa Bay's, every one of their wins is only by a few points. And by Packer fandom standards,
that's true.
That probably wouldn't be good enough. But overall, hey, compared to everything else, compared to the NFL and by large, and all the wins and losses and crazy crap that has happened already this season will continue to happen every season, we're doing fine. We're doing fine. All right, thanks, Ryan. Bye.
I agree, man. I'm feeling good. Feeling great. Got myself into a couple arguments online that I didn't expect. So you never know what's going to cause a complete war. I just say things, and then sometimes people get really mad about it. I don't know. But I'm trying to graciously back out of all these arguments, and then occasionally somebody says something that just ticks me off, and I start a whole new argument again. So, but otherwise, I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good about where we're at. Obviously, a lot of things need to change and improve if we're going to be the team that is capable of winning a Super Bowl. The good news is we have time to get to that point. So right now, like you said, it's stacking wins and style, or maybe that was Garrett. Style points aren't as important. It's going to make us feel better that we can be that team. But it is what it is, man. We'll just take it as she comes. But like I said, this week we just got to be good enough to beat the Cardinals, and we can't. I don't even looked at the spread. That'll be a tomorrow's thing on the podcast. We'll have to look at that. But I'm hoping it's like 1 or 2. Let me look real quick. I'm hoping it's like 3 points at the most. We're on the road. That should hurt us. 6.5. I was hoping it was like 3 so we could acknowledge it's kind of a toss-up. 3 points is basically a toss-up in either direction. And I guess it shouldn't really be a toss-up, but it is. I mean, the Packers on the road have been bad. If I had to guess, doing like the whole, DVOA thing that I do, whatnot, if you incorporate home and away, I would guess the Packers would, if not losing, Although there is this weird thing with the Cardinals. I remember seeing it this year and remembering it from previous years where they're one of the few teams that are worse at home. It's such a weird thing with them. So maybe that to some degree negates it. But yeah, I mean, look, I would go into it saying it's a 50-50 game. It's going to be a battle. It's going to be tough because we're a team that is not because we're a bad team, but because right now we're not a team that has figured all their stuff out and they're mistake prone and they haven't figured out their offense and their offensive line is still trying to work through some stuff and they're battling through their injuries and the defense has got a lot of stuff they got to figure out. And if they can't, we could be in serious trouble in any and all games. So, we got to go into it with a 50-50 mentality and, be extremely grateful if we come out with a win. If we come out with a 1-point win, being like, heck yeah, bro. All right, folks, I'm going to get out of here. Appreciate all your calls. We'll try to get it all caught up by tomorrow. So, with the football game coming up. I think today, I kind of talked about tomorrow on the podcast, how I've been doing some themes, like very specific. I'm kind of curious if anybody can pick up on, he must be doing this. And as I mentioned yesterday or this morning, I feel like it was relatively obvious what I was doing. Tomorrow's, I basically tell you what it is. Tonight, I'm going to do the same thing. I found out on the way home today that Kiss guitarist Ace Frehley passed away, unfortunately. I guess I heard on the radio that he fell and did not do very well. I think there was some internal bleeding in the brain and just wasn't able to recover and passed away. Not like the biggest Kiss fan in the world, but they got some good songs. So I'm going to pick my favorite Kiss song and see if I can make something with that. My favorite song being Hard Luck Woman. Y'all have a good night. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Friend, I see you wearing green and gold. Another Sunday morning, same old story being told. Some folks get worked up when the scoreboard ain't quite right. But we've been here before, through the darkness and the light. The frozen tundra, seen it all before. Champions and heartbreak at our door. So take it easy, take it slow. We're right where we need to go. The seasons come, the seasons fade, but green and gold will never trade this feeling that we're home. Yeah, we're home. I've watched the legends come and go through all these years. Seen miracles on Monday nights, seen grown men shed their tears. But win or lose, we gather round. It's bigger than the game. It's family and tradition, and it always feels the same. From Lambeau Field to every small town bar, we carry this team wherever we are. So take it easy, take it slow. We're right where we need to go. The seasons come, the seasons fade, but green and gold will never trade this feeling that we're home. We're always home. They say dynasty, they say rebuild, but we just say next Sunday's field.